Welcome to Pacific Northwest Farmers Cooperative marketing update for November 17th, 2025. I'm Trudi Ellenbaugh. With us today, we have Lane Hannes. He has joined us, the marketing team, in July. Randy Olstad's out of the office this week, so we're going to put Lane on the hot seat. And of course, Shane Rebald. Just a quick disclaimer that we do every podcast. The views and opinions of this program are of the hosts and are for informational purposes only, and there's substantial risk in trading futures and options, which should be carefully considered before trading. Let's just get right into it. I think if we would have been able to do this podcast on Friday like we had planned after the crop report, we would probably be singing a different tune. Maybe not a whole lot, Definitely. But certainly what a difference a day makes. That being said, I'm going to put Lane on the spot and ask him what his thoughts on something notable about the crop report.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to be on the podcast today. And first of all, thank you to everybody that's watching for your patronage. What I think about the crop report, well, if you saw what the board did today, the markets really just shrugged it off. It was ultimately bearish for wheat, corn, soybeans, everything. The U.S. Balance sheet got larger. Our carryouts are going to be larger based on higher production. Same goes for the world production of wheat. And what happened today is we went back up 18 cents. So the market shrugged it off. Soybeans were the leader today. What else can I say about that crop report? There were some other data released as well. One of the things of interest to us was the backlog of daily export sales that are to be reported. Any sale over 100,000 metric tons needs to be reported daily. So they gave all of that to us in one report. One thing notable was 110,000 metric tons of soft white wheat sold to Bangladesh.
Right. Notable also that was the only white wheat that was on the flash.
Wheat of any class.
Wheat of any class.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe it should be that it was a positive thing that there was white wheat on it.
Yeah, it was.
But everything else was corn and beans, at least for flash sales.
Right. We got to see, how much China bought in soybeans on those flash sales. It came out to just under 1 million metric tons. From the proposed agreement, they're supposed to buy 12 million metric tons this marketing year, or maybe this calendar year. That's sort of unclear based on what we've heard. But they are buying. It sounds like today they bought a whole bunch of soybeans as well, up to 14 cargoes worth. That's why the ag markets were headed up today.
Yeah. Thanks. I kind of thought a couple notable things that, at least in the wheat classes, wheat by class, I always like to take a look at that and see where the USDA moves that balance sheet around a little bit. White wheat, they did increase ending stocks by 6 million bushels. That was due to increase in production and a decrease in domestic use. So, it took it from 86 to 92 on your carryout. Winter wheat crop continues to get big, or that balance sheet gets bigger. They increase the ending stocks by 10 million. Now you got a 54.5% stocks to use. That's just seems like a really heavy number. Otherwise, really the all wheat up 57 million, 43.9 stocks to use. One bright note, or not bright note, is we finally see USDA starting to adjust the Australian number, which we've talked about. They did take their production to 36 from 34.5. So all of these numbers, remember that since the government was shut down, these are all going off of from September to now in November report. So, really that was just kind of the things where I thought was notable, because everything leading up to it, we talked about bigger supplies, in the world, and that's exactly what the report said. Board closed down 9. We were all, in our doom and gloom, and it's not going to go up again, and let alone today. So, Shane, do you have anything else notable that you thought about that was interesting on the crop report?
The only thing I would add to those points would be the corn yield stayed at 186. Which is still a record number. It's been pretty well debated whether it would stay that high or not. We'll kind of see if that continues to develop. I think corn's pretty well wrapped up for now. So
average.
It shouldn't be an estimate anymore. We should pretty well know what it is.
Average trade guessed that the yield, they were going to adjust the yield to 184. So I think that's kind of why. I did find an interesting note that I was going to read. we debate on USDA numbers and what they mean and whether they're right or wrong. But this I hadn't seen this one before. At the top of their estimates, it said, "Note, due to a lapse in government funding from October 1st to November 12th, the data sources that typically were used are not available for the November 25 WASD. Changes in the balance sheet could reflect U.S. data not being available at time of publications, and in some cases, information was limited."
Yeah, there's your grain of salt.
Yeah. So now my only question is, where do we go from here on your December WASD?
Corrections, yeah.
As that data comes out, they're going to,
Everybody's back to work now.
yeah, they're going to keep continuing through, I think, December, the end of December, updating the weekly export sales that
Right.
were published.
It's going to take them a while to catch
Yeah.
up.
So I think that's going to be, we're all in new territory a little bit on what,
Typically, we see those every Thursday. They've got a schedule published where we're going to see up to 2 reports every week until they get caught up the first week of January. So,
Yeah.
and those are our normal weekly export sales.
and so I couldn't tell for sure on that. Will they do like this week? Will they actually have this week's, or are they just going to continue to do backlog?
I believe it's going to be delayed.
delayed. So, you're delaying again all the way till the end of
Yeah.
December.
December.
So yeah, certainly we're all in this together on what data is published. But like I said, it is all about the data, and that lapse in time frame certainly had, we traded rumors and headlines, and now we're trading, well, half data, rumors, and headlines. So I guess
The other report that we haven't seen in a while, actually since the end of September, is the commitment of traders.
Oh yeah.
Right. So we knew at that point that managed money, or the hedge funds that they're called, were short commodities. We can guess where they're at right now, but without those weekly reports, our guesses get farther and farther from where they actually are. So I believe Friday this week we'll get an update to see how long or short they are. Still short, I assume.
Yeah, they have posted that it is supposed to be released on Friday.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's switch gears into market outlook. Shane, I'm going to ask you first, kind of what you think here when you talk about wheat, and then maybe even a little bit talk about the canola market with all this increased soybean information and with the soy oils and stuff.
Yeah, there's been a couple things to talk about. First, we'll hit on the soy oil. They did the Big Beautiful Bill, or as they call it, the HR1, had some changes within the 45Z program, or for the 45Z program, that alternates how or from where the feedstocks were grown. That computes into the size of tax credit that you're applicable for. And they loosened some of that for ethanol and soybean growers. So that should incentivize beans or bean oil to be used within biodiesels, because they can receive a higher tax credit.
Okay.
So that should take or help eat up some of that big soy oil that we see coming down the pipeline with the crush being so good. And then as for that, anything that has to do with soy oil can affect into canola oil. So all is viewed as good. Will it be enough to eat the glut that's coming down the pipe? I don't know just yet. Another positive thing is that there's thawing tensions between China and Canada, along with all the trade deals that the U.S. has been putting on. Other countries have been working together or renegotiating as well. So it's kind of this big old ripple effect. And there's been positive news come out 2 weeks ago that talks have started between Canada and China about agricultural products. And we all know, canola futures are priced out of Canada. So that is our base, or number one price, or fluctuation comes from that. So any positive news there is going to be a big win. So I think, maybe hold 1850 is a good place to get started. Can we see 19? Give it a couple months.
Yeah.
We get some good news coming in our favor.
And soybeans continue, like today, they
Yep.
closed up 32. So you give
Yeah.
a few more of that. That's going to incentivize maybe some crush and some use, and give maybe some bright spot to canola.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lane, what about you? Anything market outlook wise that you're looking at?
In wheat markets, I think we're going to see a lot of the same as far as cash white wheat goes. We've kind of made our bed. We're going to see export sales that are consistent. Not sure that we're going to price into the swing business. Futures volatility right now, and that can be good for you. If you want to give us a call and talk about using options to enhance your bottom line, it's something we can do for you. But more of the same.
Yeah. I think a couple of things that I had to note for Outlook. Certainly, again, we talked about what a difference a day makes, but, down here in white wheat world or just wheat world, Friday we had futures down hard, 10 cents, and cash stayed unchanged. Cash white wheat stayed unchanged. Chicago today closed up 17 and cash white wheat went up a nickel. So this range that we're in right now is a tradable range. If we get too far, futures, we're divorcing ourselves a little bit on that basis side of things, but it is a tradable number. And I think the bottom line is you still have the Australian farmer cutting his crop. He's in the background. He's been a reluctant seller of his crop so far, and that's kind of kept these world values elevated a little bit, or at least stabilized. I think that's why you see white wheat staying firm, and I think you're going to see that probably for into the end of the year. After that, the big question is China. Lot of rumors today on not white wheat, soft red. Did they buy any wheat? I think you're going to see those until we really get to the bottom line of all these balance sheets. We're going to trade some headlines and some rumors, which is not a bad thing. The volatility is going to give us some opportunity. Look at those new crop HTAs, your December 26, your September 26. Scale in your orders, on the upside, because, just the upside of these row crops is going to give you some opportunity. And then, like I said, those flex contracts or those option contracts are going to give you a little more bottom line support for what cash release does seem to be range bound.
Yeah.
Yep.
Any closing thoughts off of that for
No.
wheat?
Yeah. Keep holding strong. See if we can't break this $6 glass ceiling.
Yeah.
We're in perfect position to do it.
Yeah. And demand's been strong, but again, we got to have something that is a reason why we have to trade above these levels. And so far, this is kind of our tradable number. So.
Yeah. So my final thoughts today would be, if you haven't paid attention, our December 26 HTA price is over $6. That's what the board's trading. September's at a 590 is where we closed today. Looked over some 10-year historical numbers here last week just to kind of get a good idea where we've been. The top 25% of closing prices in the last 10 years has been 675 and above for your nearby contract. So if you can get somewhere close to that, you're selling close to the top. Just for reference sake, the top 50% of trades has been at 592 or higher. That's where we're at. So that's what I have in closing.
Yeah, I like that. It's good to know
numbers to think
where the
about.
average top is, but yeah, we got to scale into it. So
Yep.
we got to build up into
Don't
that
sell the whole
program.
farm.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.